Good Sunday morning, everybody. It's time for the reacts. I believe Kyle's going to do an all-in-one weekend recap show later on. I'm going to do individual videos recapping Saturday night's main event, NXT Great American Bash, which I'm going to watch a little bit later on today. Evolution will have that for you. And what this video is right now, the AEW All-In pay-per-view reaction. We got a lot to get to, so let's jump right into it. Before we do our traditional things we like, things we didn't like, this video and the Saturday night's main event video is going to be highlighted by two critical injuries. And in the case of All In, Adam Cole. Tony Khan announced before the show that Adam Cole suffered an undisclosed injury where basically we didn't know the severity of it, but it was enough to, for him not to be cleared for the show. And we saw Adam Cole come out and without disclosing what the injury is, pretty much in tears, as he didn't announce that he was going to retire, but if it did not feel good, and it's really unfortunate. And win, lose, or draw, all prayers to Adam Cole. We'll say the same about Seth Rollins later on, because in the case of Adam Cole, actually both of those guys, bad luck. In the case of Adam Cole, it was 2 years ago, main evented All In London, that 80,000 plus arrangement, audience, this MJF and one of AEW's all-time greatest feuds, and you thought you was going to get a payoff with that huge storyline. Injuries derailed that, and Adam Cole, you just hope for the best, but man, he took a gamble on himself going to AEW. He's been provided with incredible opportunities, and nobody's more frustrated about his situation than him. And it's just unfortunate. You hope this is not it for Adam, but the number one thing, obviously, is to take care of himself. And, that really, because he was supposed to defend his TNT championship. We'll find out more either later on today or during the week exactly what happened. But a very unfortunate situation, and we wish all the best to Adam Cole. I'm not going to really get on the crowd because after that announcement, you could tell it took a couple matches for the crowd to get back into it. You could sense, man, pretty deflated after that injury. So, in normal circumstances, you going on the crowd, not here. Just with the unfortunate injury with Adam Cole, wish for all the best. All right, things I didn't like, things I didn't like. We'll start with the positives. And everything starts and stops with the main event. I'll also tie in Young Bucks, Swerve, and Ospreay together as well. But look, I know the Texas Death Match is not for everybody. I think Kyle's going to have a very different reaction. We watched the show together with some friends yesterday and Saturday night's main event. And I know he wasn't feeling immediately going to a fork spots and, just gore. So as far as blood, yeah, that match is not for everybody. Even I was like, whoa, okay, I'm not used to this. It's 2025. My bad. I'm not used to it. But as far as tying stories together, this might have been, this was not the Avengers finish in the sense of we're bringing back big stars from the past, but this was equally as good, maybe better, in terms of tying in current stars. There were no past superstars here. Not discrediting WWE because The Rock was involved and you got to tie in that era, but every person involved was stars from today. Number one, great to see Darby Allin back. Great to see that he recorded a video for Mount Everest. Great to see him ascend down and get the save. Great to see that Swerve. Swerve and Hangman, I believe on Collision, kind of, showed respect for each other. Great to see Swerve. Boy, I ain't gonna lie to you, Swerve looks like the number one babyface in AEW. Even though Hangman won the match, we'll get to Hangman in a second. Great to see Real Ospreay. Great to see the Young Bucks. Great to see every element of the story tying in, and it led to the right finish. I was very concerned that the way Hangman was booked was looking, going into this pay-per-view, that he couldn't do it. Really, I came into yesterday's show with the understanding Death Riders could finish the job. Death Riders could retain. And they didn't. Moxley did not. And it was him being choked out. Literally choked out. There was no other way. With the chainsaw, with the chain, it was no other way. Congratulations to Hangman. I thought that was, you was worried too. It's like, oh no, he can't open the briefcase. He finally opened it. Little detail as well, the side plates of the AEW Championship still had Bryan Danielson's side plates. Moxley never got side plates. So literally that title wasn't touched for 9 months. Now with that being said, I still hated the storyline in total with the Death Riders. But the story's been brought to a close. A lot of fresh matchups on the horizon, which we'll talk about on the main podcast this week. A lot of good stuff, but man, that was a very satisfying main event. Great to see Bryan Danielson again. You wonder how his future is going to look in the ring. Does he have one more match or so in him, or was that a one-off? A very, very satisfying main event that's going to get a lot of people talking positively about AEW. Look, what are fans going to talk about most on Monday? It's going to be this main event with All In. I thought this was Tony Khan's best booked main event that he has ever produced since starting AEW. And I thought this match was booked masterfully. Can't even talk anymore. I thought it was phenomenal booking. It really was. And again, ties into the second thing I liked. Can't stand the Young Bucks. I hope they're off television and that's that. I know they're an asset. A major repackaging is in the works. But I thought the entrance was cool with the Founding Fathers. Getting on the ship, and that was a cool moment. Will Ospreay had the Assassin's Creed intro. Yeah, JoJo performing didn't really fit with Swerve. It was like, wait a minute, what's the tie-in? But I will admit, it was great to see JoJo. It was great to see JoJo. Of course, Bray Wyatt's wife. I'll also add, too, if you do want to sneak in a performance, do it during a wrestling entrance as opposed to a separate moment. So actually pretty smart the way that they used her. The match was pretty good. Other than the death match, I will say, All In, I don't think there were any, every AEW pay-per-view there's like, oh my goodness, a 80-star classic match. I don't think we saw that with this pay-per-view. I did find myself during this pay-per-view saying, man, kind of wish Ospreay was in a singles match. But I'm not saying that this was the wrong decision. Like, this was a story. Stick to it. Here we go. And it was Ospreay and Swerve. One little detail I liked as well. All the way back to pre-show, 0 Hour. Josh Matthews random by the way, interviewed Swerve and Ospreay, and Matthews asked, "Well, what what do you guys think of the stipulation that that Will put up? Like, if you lose this match, you can't challenge for the world title for a year." Matthews puts the microphone in front of Swerve's face first because he was positioned first, and Swerve was like, "Yeah, Will, what do you think about this stipulation?" And I love the little tie. I love the details. Like, just because you're a babyface doesn't mean you got to be cool with everything that other babyfaces do. And it was clear that Swerve was not cool with this stipulation, but he stepped up, he manned up, handled business. And I thought you got a satisfying tag team match with Young Bucks, Swerve, and Ospreay, of course, with the right winner. Toni Storm, Mercedes Mone. Boy, what can you say? First off, very nice to look at throughout. While I wasn't satisfied with the overall storyline coming into the match, and I do believe this is only step one of their feud, I think, well, let's see what happens. They got Forbidden Door, so maybe they'll detour, but I do think they're going to come back to this feud. I think there's more layers to peel from this program. But Storm and Mercedes put in a really good women's wrestling match. Really good stuff. I don't know if it will be the best women's match of the weekend. There's a lot of competition for that. But I'll be honest, edge of my seat as far as the storytelling. Yeah, the story to this point is very sexually subjective. But in terms of delivering in-ring, pretty good stuff. Turnbuckle pile driver, pretty dangerous. You was wondering what the status of Mercedes Moné is going to, if she's okay after the match. But overall, really, really great storytelling with Toni and Mercedes. And one of my favorite women's matches that I've seen from AEW in their history. Really, really, really good stuff. And I hope that this program, in some way, shape, or form, continues. I didn't know with this match who was going to win either. But I think Toni is the right call because now that was Mercedes' first loss. And now Mercedes, the heel, she's going to ramp up the intensity as far as heel heat because she lost that championship. It's going to be really cool to see. One other thing that I liked, I think almost every match you got the correct winner. In really cool moments. Dustin Rhodes winning the TNT Championship. We joked at our watch party that Dustin Rhodes is all of a sudden going to legitimately turn into Dusty and cut a Dusty promo and do that. That's going to be cool. But Dustin Rhodes winning the TNT Championship. I think, with the downer, that we talked about with Adam Cole and his injury, to get people talking, having Dustin win the TNT Championship, that'll get people talking. And it's a good story of, can Dustin in his older age, can he still hang on? It's the George Foreman storyline all over again. Can he hang on? And it's good stuff. Athena, I know she's doing work in Ring of Honor. That's enough burying her in Ring of Honor. People need to watch her. She is clearly one of the best women's talents in the entire promotion in all of AEW. And for her to win the women's Casino Gauntlet match, absolute right call. Absolute right call. It's time to get her featured on weekly AEW programming. Somehow, some way. Again, don't know. Let's see. They got a detour with Forbidden Door. But we'll see what happens with Toni and Mercedes. But then Athena in there as well. Great decision with the win. Real quick in between. Again, it's a pay-per-view. They did I thought production. I thought it looked good. It looked crisp. it looked bigger than just 20-some thousand in the arena. Uh, with that being said, there was a couple instances where like the cameraman was out of position in certain cases, and uh, it kind of annoyed me during the Casino Gauntlet matches. You're trying to identify who the wrestlers are, but like you'll get their entrance coming down the ramp, but then it will zoom out. And then by the time you cut to a single shot of them, all you see is their backside. And like face recognition, we got to know who they are. And for people, like it's a new audience, face recognition is everything. If we're not seeing their face, we don't know who they are. So that's a little minor detail. Actually, that's a significant detail, to be perfectly honest. But overall, I thought they did a great. Production-wise, there are little things they need to work on that matters. But as far as how the stadium looked, phenomenal. That looked first class. And you just think, man, WCW, even though they did the Georgia Dome with Goldberg, it was still the regular Nitro set and everything. Like, this looks like a spotlight show. And you saw some production. Real quick, things I didn't like. Again, this video brought to you by W.GG. All natural, no sugar or anything like that. Great energy drinks and stuff. Get a little nice cup. Great flavors as well. You do this before workout. All set, ready to go. W.GG is how you can order. Type in a promo code SHWP10 to get 10% off of your orders. You get the sample package, get whatever you need there. Got the s'mores. Oh my goodness, it's good stuff. All right, things I didn't like. The men's Casino Gauntlet match, because the stipulation is the winner gets a future world title opportunity, it was very obvious either MJF or Mark Briscoe was going to win that match. And because of that, it's like, man, boy, knowing that this show was going to go for as long as it did, this match dragged. I'm like, this could have been a match that was sped up. This could have been a match where, Casino Gauntlet, but you really sell the fact that MJF, got a quick victory. This could have been the one where we sped things up. But it was obvious that AEW was going for having the main event overrun Saturday, the WWE show. It was clear and obvious. So, yeah, the 6-hour show, really 8-hour show if you include the pre-show matches. But, boy, what do you do when you're in war, right? You got to sacrifice. You got to do what you need to do. But I thought the men's Casino Gauntlet match did suffer because of that. I thought because the pay-per-view ran long, it impacted my enjoyment personally of Okada and Kenny Omega. I expected Omega to win, but let's see what they do with Okada getting the W. I'm not upset with the decision. Let's see what they do. But when you're looking at the clock, and you realize, man, pay-per-view's running. I don't know, right? And I think, and the last thing I had things I didn't like was the slow start to the pay-per-view. Part of it was impacted by Adam Cole's announcement of the injury. But I thought, other than Dustin Rhodes winning, I thought the first quarter of the show was pretty slow. It didn't really pick up until Swerve, Ospreay, and the Young Bucks. And I think that's really the bigger point. Tony Khan, the way he books pay-per-views as far as order compared to what we see with WWE is very different. I think if WWE was booking this show, Tony Storm and Mercedes probably open. You probably get, you do get Young Bucks, Swerve, Ospreay in the middle, but I think you also get Okada and Omega slotted in the midway point. And then you get your main event. But the way Tony Khan books these shows, I think you could have showed up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and had a fully enjoyable show. Just a lot of stuff. But hey, can you complain about more wrestling? Can you complain that both companies are offering their best work? Can you complain that WWE sees AEW as such a threat that they had to stockpile this weekend surrounding AEW, considering that AEW had this weekend booked a year in advance? This date. Pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, very extensive because they did a lot of stuff. We had a lot of stuff to cover. Things I like, things I didn't like. Again, best wishes to Adam Cole. And hopefully all the best to him. But overall, AEW All In, very satisfied pay-per-view. Now the key. You got fresh storylines. What do? AEW gets you very excited about AEW gets you very excited after pay-per-views. Dynamite has to follow. Dynamite must follow. So that's kind of where you're at. And too many times they have not followed up. They got an opportunity here. That is it for the All In Reacts. We got you later on with the other reaction shows coming up.